Alright, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by this time for a video that's quite different from most videos I do. We took a trip way over to the mall I used to work at 30 years ago as a teenager, basically in 1994. I think it was the spring I got, as a teenager, I got hired at Suncoast Motion Picture Company and worked there for 2 years until 1996, so it being 2025 now. 30 years ago I would have been working at Suncoast Motion Picture Company, and we took a trek way down to the to the mall where my former stomping ground of my 2 years at Suncoast Motion Picture Company working there as a teenager took place. Took some photos of the outside. I didn't want to go inside and have someone yell at me for taking pictures. Plus, there's nothing to see inside anyway. It's just anime stuff, and I'm far from an anime fan. I like Godzilla, and that's pretty much it. Ultraman. But yeah, it's pretty much just a store that sells anime kind of themed stuff. And from the outside, you'll be able to see a little bit inside in one of these pictures anyway. But as you can see, I drew on the computer. I covered over the business name that's there now, and drew Suncoast on there to try to give it a feel, flashback to 30 years ago. I'm sure it looked better than this, but yeah, this is it. This is where yours truly frickin' worked for 2 years, 30 years ago as a frickin' teenager, corporate hellhole kind of movie sales place. This is the actual location. So as a little know-nothing teenager, I worked in this very spot 30 frickin' years ago. Pretty nuts. If you look at basically the center of your screen there, back in the 90s, there was a bank of 3 CRT televisions that were, I guess, meant to pretty much lure people in from outside of the store. Inside the store, of course, they had CRT televisions up kind of on the walls, really close to the ceiling, where you'd play whatever new release you'd be pushing. I remember when I was working there, the last official VHS release of the original Star Wars trilogy came out, so we got to play that all day, every day for a while, episode 4, 5, and 6 in their original form. That wasn't a bad way to spend your work days for a while there. I remember some customers came in, young people like me, maybe teenagers or a little older or something, saying, it's not a bad place to work, frickin' listening to, the original versions of episode 4, 5, and 6 on these, decent sounding speakers coming from the ceiling and all this and that. So there's probably worse jobs to have at the time. If you look at the right side of the screen there, you might notice a little section here. I'm going to cut to another image to make it a little more understandable. You might not understand right when you first see this image. As a matter of fact, when I took this and went back to Beth and she saw that I had taken the picture of this right here, she was like, what the hell what did you take a picture of that for? She thought I was losing it, going mental again. And I assured her I'm not going mental this time. This is very significant spot because basically in 1994 there was a bench here. I think it was a white wooden bench up against the wall there. I'll try to illustrate this to show you where approximately the bench was, but that bench has big significance for me in my job, 2-year job at Suncoast Motion Picture Company. That's where my interview took place to get hired for 2 years at Suncoast Motion Picture Company. So this spot right here in 1994, yours truly was sitting on a bench and, basically getting interviewed to get hired at Suncoast Motion Picture Company. Here's another lovely angle of the entrance to the formerly Suncoast Motion Picture Company with my scribbled Suncoast down there to kind of bring us back 30 years into the past as good as I can with my computer graphic skills. So we get a little bit of a better shot of the inside of the store, which of course now has nothing in there that really interests me, but it's funny going in there now, 30 years later. It's like I've worked at places that are so much bigger than this. This place, I think at the time when I was a teenager, seemed kind of big, But having worked at, much bigger buildings and things since, it's just really crazy this is almost like a closet, this space here. And it just seemed like a pretty big world to me at the time as a teenager. So it's kind of interesting to all that, how everything is relative based on experience and this kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, going in there is really, really just a blast from the past. And this space 30 years ago sure didn't seem as small as this space is now when I go back there. This was really, really something. Getting a little better view of the interior here, we can see on the ceiling, if you look closely, you can see the signature Suncoast Motion Picture Company ceiling. I can still, when I go back in there, I can see all them big black and white pictures, stills from famous movies, The Godfather and The Graduate and whatever else frickin' stills from famous movies, Spartacus and all this and that they had that went around kind of the empty spot up by the ceiling on the walls. You can still kind of see the black area right up by the ceiling that goes all the way around the perimeter of the inside of the store. You can still see the black area in the store that's there now, kind of here and there, depending on where it is, put some of their own pictures of whatever garbage they have up on the wall there. You can actually see right here, I'll indicate it with the red arrow, you can actually see this spot is where one of the TVs used to be, and they covered it up with some kind of, I don't know, was that a fabric poster or something, but yeah, that's where one of the TVs used to be. I'm trying to think of how many TVs were in the store, probably 3 or 4, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's right where the registers used to be. They'll have this arrow indicating the registers used to be right there, and that TV used to be right up to our left. There was a couple registers, and I sure rung up a hell of a lot of frickin' movies on those registers in my day, I'll tell you. Also did quite a bit of answering the phones. The phone was right behind us on the wall there. Had to, basically, they made us answer the phone like this. Thanks for calling Suncoast Motion Picture Company, where you can reserve your copy of Jurassic Park. How may I help you? Or maybe it was, thanks for calling Suncoast Motion Picture Company, where you can reserve your copy of Jurassic Park, releasing on October whatever. How may I help you? And I just felt so stupid for answering the phone like that. And there was a lot of sales things where I just didn't like having to just hand out flyers and stuff and all this and that I didn't like, which resulted in them wanting to can me. But I think I ended up quitting before they canned me. But they wanted to can me, and the district manager was actually nice, and he said, give them another shot. So they wanted to can me, but they couldn't. But then I quit, so yay. Yeah, not sure I've got much else to say. That probably does it for this frickin' tour of a store that I used to work at 30 years ago. Trip down memory lane. This is what the location looks like now in 2025. Still selling the same kind of stuff, just kind of different kind of same kind of stuff. So I guess that pretty much does it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, we'll catch you on the next video.